Hi everybody, this is my introduction to me video for the Chapters book club. I am one of the you could say founding members, part of the team that's setting it up for everybody, and we all decided we were going to do a little introduction, just introducing ourselves and saying a little bit about ourselves. I didn't just want to do one where it was I'm Tori, I live in the UK, I have a cat, that kind of thing. So what I've done is I've collected a few books that have sort of built me into the reader that I am today. They're sort of books from my past that really ignited my love for reading. And some of them are out of print because, well, I'm old. Well, not that old, but some of them are out of print now. But they are ones that have basically built me into the reader and formed the person I am, because I think when you read as a child it does form, it just builds you into the person that you will one day become. So I think it just affects you in a way that it doesn't when you're an adult, because you're still forming your own ideas and things like that. But anyway, so these are the books that I have picked. Basically, it's from, the first one is from when I was a little wee thing. And my favourite book as a toddler, The Magic Train. Basically, I adored this book. As you can see, it is destroyed practically. I'm amazed that the actual pages are still in. If you look, you can see that they're on the way out. There are even teeth marks in this, which I'm going to blame on my brother, but I honestly can't remember if I put them there or not. But, oh, I love this book. It is out of print now, I think. If you ever see it in a second-hand shop, you should definitely get it. It's basically about a little girl who breaks her doll. She smashes her little face, little China doll, and her and her brother get on the train and go to Toyland. It's a toy train, obviously. And they go to Toyland to see the toy doctor. And every world is just a little bit different. There's an upside down world, there's a one with trolls in it. My favourite world at the time was the Sweetie world, because it had a river made of cork. And it had lovely birds made of sweeties. And candy floss trees. So, it just a lovely book, and they eventually make it to the toy makers thing, and they see all these forgotten toys and broken toys, excuse me, and they decide they're going to fix one themselves and take them all home so that they can be played with and look after the toys properly. And they find a tiny little puppet, and they fix him along with everyone else on the last page. It's a happy puppet. Oh. And it's just an amazing book. And I loved it, my brother loved it. And it hasn't actually aged, because my brother now has 2 kids, and the oldest one is 3. And she adores this book. She really does. I've read it to her a couple of times, and she really likes it each time, and picking out the different worlds that she likes best. So it's a really good book if you ever see it. The next one I got when I was about 7, and it is Enid Blyton's Little Book of Brownies. My mum got me it when I first started the Brownies, which is kind of like a Girl Guides kind of club in Britain. I don't know if you have it in America, but it's a Girl Guides club type thing, but for the younger ones. So I think it's from about 7 upwards, something like that. And we wore ugly brown outfits, if I remember rightly. But basically, the 3 brownies there are very naughty. But they still, the king decides at the last minute, fine, you can come to this big party. And they pull a trick, and the little princess disappears. And so the king banishes them out of the world. And basically the whole book is about the adventures they go on trying to get, I can't remember, it's a while since I've read it. So they try to get, I think it's to a magician or something like that, so he can prove that they are good brownies after all, and it's all about their adventures. It's a very, very basic book, as you can see, but I adored it, absolutely adored it. And even when I got older, as a teenager, if I had a bad day, I'd often just reread it, because it you know, when you read something you go, just lovely, really loved it, a fantastic book. And that's by Enid Blyton, but it is out of print now. so I don't know, you'd probably have to get that second hand. Maybe Amazon might have it, something like that, but as far as I know, it is out of print. Another one, randomly, the World History, Osborne Book of World History. I love this book. I do not know why, but I became absolutely fascinated by this book. And as you can see, it's basically just a history book, very basic history book at that, and it's got lots of illustrations and pictures and things like that, and I absolutely loved it. I really had to think about the Aztecs and Egypt. Don't know why, but they were like the two that I really, really remember. I'd go back and back to them pages and just read it over and over again, and I'm sure this is the book that really got me into history, to be honest, because I really like reading history books and watching history shows and things like that, and I think this is the book that actually did it for me. I think it was the one that really sort of got my interest in history of the world and just history, basically. As I got a little bit older, I moved on to sort of older books and things, and this one, The Secret Garden and A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I adore these books. Oh, they're just amazing, absolutely fantastic. I couldn't put this down. I must have read this book at least once a year from when I got it, when I must have been about 8, I would think, when I got this. And I must have read it every year until I left home to go to university at 18, because I absolutely adored it, and it's so aged and old and battered now. If you look, it's still got the original ticket in that I've put when I was younger, A Little Princess, to separate the two pages. So one book, Little Princess, Secret Garden at the front, Little Princess is at the end. And I could still read this book and I'd get just the same amount of pleasure from it as I used to when I was younger. Absolutely adored it. It was absolutely fantastic. Both of them. I think Little Princess, probably my second favourite, and Secret Garden every time was just, oh, I love it. And I've read that one more than I've read that in book on a whole, because at least once a year I'd read it cover to cover and cover both of them. But in the space of the year I'd also reread Secret Garden a few times, so goodness knows how many times I've read that one. The next one was, you've got to bear in mind that I'm older. Oh, because this is shameful. Well, not shameful, but at my time, when I was younger, this TV series was huge when I was like a tween, kind of like the Hannah Montana of the day, really, in a way, for like how popular it was, and that is Saved by the Bell. I love these series, and they're really, really simple, and I look back at them now, I think, my goodness, really, really simple language, really quick. I think this one has like 133 pages or something when I looked at it earlier. Yeah, 133. So really quick reads, but I adored these books, and they were just fantastic. I still have them on my shelf. I really, really keep thinking, because I haven't read any of them in absolutely years, and I keep thinking I must remove them from my shelf because they're just taking up space, but because they've been on my shelves that long, I just can't take them up to the attic, because I keep my shelves basically, it's like a memory set of shelves. It has what I'm reading currently and my to be read list, and then everything else is just stuff I've loved over the years, and so this is one of them. And I've got all the series apart from the scrapbook, which I wish I had. Oh, but that's like ridiculously expensive. But these ones, I got them when I was younger, and to show how old they were £3.50 a book. I mean, £3.50, ridiculous, isn't it? How cheap. But obviously at the time it was like equivalent to whatever the money was now. But £3.50, oh, miss those days. And I love them. So a little bit shameful, but oh, adore them. Face on the Milk Carton by Caroline B. Cooney. I read this when I was a little bit older, probably about 14, something like that, and I got it from the library. Absolutely adored it. It's about a little girl, well, not little really, she's 15, I think, in the book, 15, 16, and she's been brought up by her parents who are older, and basically her whole life has been perfect, absolutely perfect. And then one day she's in the school cafeteria and she sees a picture of herself on a milk carton, which I think in America you put pictures of missing children on milk cartons. We don't do that here, but I think that's what you do in America. And she sees herself, And basically the whole story starts from there, and it's all about her finding out if it's true, is that her, or is it sort of a memory sort of playing tricks on her, that sort of thing. And it's absolutely fantastic. There's 4 books in the series, and this one is the first one. And I got the other one from the library, so I bought this much later, but I absolutely adored it. I had to get it in the hardback, so I knew I'd read it 100 times over my lifetime, so I had to get it in the large print, but I still absolutely adore this book. And it's really, really a quick read, because I think even in the large print it's only 235 pages, so it's a really quick read and just a really fantastic read. And the final book that defined me as a child was See You Thursday by Jean Ewer. Not sure how you pronounce that. And this one was just utterly, the first romance that I really, really just fell for, absolutely head over heels. Basically, it is about a girl whose mother has come on financial difficulty, and in order to pay her private school fees, what she does is she takes in a lodger. Now, the lodger that she accepts is actually blind, so when the girl finds out about this, she doesn't want anything to do with it. She thinks it's a terrible idea, and she imagines it being a really older guy, and he'll be really dependent and demanding of her and things like that. But what happens is the guy turns up, and he's actually really, really young, and he's really, really independent, and this love story begins. And Abe, who is the blind man, I love him, absolutely. He is my first. I still read this book, and I still get all giggly and silly at certain points, because it's just so, I just love it. This one is out of print, because I read it from the library, but I couldn't get hold of it anywhere else, so I ended up having to buy it from a second-hand bookstore. And as you see, it is very, very destroyed, but a really good book. If you can get hold of it, I'm sure you'll probably be able to get it on Amazon. But a fantastic read. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Can't get enough of it. So those are the books that basically define me, and the ones that over my sort of childhood and late teens, I've just really, really defined who I became and what I read and things like that. And they're books that sparked the love of reading. You know, when you read a book and it's that good that you can't wait to read another book, you're just like, I've got to read on, I've got to read something else. And the next book never seemed to be as good as that one. Well, that's kind of what I've tried to do there. Those are the books that I remember and that have stuck in my mind for all these years. They've stuck there, and that I absolutely adored, and to this day, and will always adore. I mean, it still happens. I haven't included every book because that would just be ridiculous. Sarah Dessen, Just Listen, had the same effect when I first read that years later. Absolutely adored that and had to get the whole series straight away because I just loved that book when it first came out. And the same with Poisonwood Bible. Loved that book, and had by Barbara Kingsolver, and had to get all of hers really, really quickly afterwards because they were just amazing. And that's the sort of thing where it gets that spark and where you just love it, and that author is suddenly, you just say, I've got to read more of those books. And I had the same. Harry Potter was another one. So it's just that sort of thing. That's all I wanted to do. And instead of just saying I'm Tori, I live in the UK, I have a cat, I love reading and that sort of thing, I just thought I'd do something a little bit different, a little bit of a twist to it, just as an introduction to who I am. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the Chapters Book Club. Feel free to comment and chat to any of us. You can always give us a text. My message, my actual YouTube page is Ms Untamed Heart, so feel free to message me there or at Chapters Book Club. Same with all the others. I'm sure none of them bite, and they'll be quite happy to hear from you. Give us comments on how we can improve things, if there's any ideas for books that you would like to maybe go in towards the future, on what we could do as book club reads. Only parameters that we do are that they have to be available in both America and the UK, because obviously I'm from the UK, and I'm sure many other people are from the UK that watch the videos, so it's got to be fair on both sides. And also we're trying to limit the number of hardbacks just for costs, to keep it down for certain people, me included, that can't afford to constantly buy hardbacks, so paperbacks are preferable. but you can always recommend a hardback and we'll always keep it on sort of record for future when it comes out in paperback. But anyway, that's just my introduction, so it's lovely to see you all watching this video, and we hope to see you all soon and commenting, and we all get to become firm friends. So, have a good day. Bye!